Hey, this goes Chowdonkster Born bought both theme parks, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be discussing my thoughts and predicted layout and everything to do with the Alton Towers dungeon. Now, of course, we do now know it's opening on the opening weekend, Saturday, March 23rd, 2019. So I hope you guys that are going on March 23rd are going to be down there enjoying the dungeon. So, as most of you guys know, I'm definitely looking to go to Alton Towers again this year. I went last year, went the year before that. I've been for the past 8-9 years. And I'm getting really excited about this because I can't wait to see this dungeon when it's complete. Now, of course, we do have some facts that we already knew, even from August 2018, or it could be facts that we've known for a few weeks. So we do know that it's going to be costing £7.50 on the gate, or you can book it as £5 online. It's going to be replacing the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory building. Now, we didn't know at first whether this confirmed or not. However, when they confirmed 5 shows and a boat ride, which is hideously scary apparently, we knew then it was going to be replacing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And of course, the recent auction has raised over £10,000 for Millions Magic Wand. So big congratulations to everyone that's bought something from the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory auction. So we pretty much know now it's going to be in the Charlie building. We know now, it's 100% confirmed that Charlie's been replaced by this. So as I said, a hideously scary boat ride and 5 shows. I believe it's set to be a 45-minute experience. Now we do know 4 of the 5 show themes. However, we don't know the boat ride theme and one of the shows. But the 4 themes we do know is the Plague Doctor, which can be found in the York dungeon. I'm sure there's many other dungeons with it in. It's dungeon tradition to have a Plague Doctor. The Torturer, that was something in York dungeon as well. I hope this one's going to be slightly better than the York dungeon one. The York dungeon one was good, but it just didn't feel about it. Felt like standing there watching Torture Device. It needs to be a bit more interactive. And of course, 2 themes that are traditional to Staffordshire local history. The Bishop of Stafford, which is set to be their version of the courtroom, from the looks like, and the Witch of Burslem's Haunted Cottage, which, in my opinion, is like comparing it to York Dungeon's Golden Inn. And the Margaret Clitheroe show. It felt a bit like, it feels like a bit like that, where you're in this building and it could be like a smoke effect or a ghost projection or something like that. So, like I said as well, the last show and the boat ride themes are still yet to be unveiled. I think that's because they want to save the surprise for the boat ride and of course the last show. And I'll get on to why the last show could be saved as a surprise when I get onto my when I get onto my predicted layout. So the order of shows, in my opinion, will be Plague Doctor, Witch of Burslem's Haunted Cottage, the Torturer, the boat ride, Bishop of Stafford, and then the unnamed show. So here's my predicted layout then of how these will be. That's the order of shows, but here's how they could flow in my opinion. So bear in mind you could have your own predicted layout. Comment down below your predicted layout of the order of shows. So I'm going to give you the shows again just in case you want to comment down below which order you think these are going in. So my predicted order of shows is the Plague Doctor, the Witch of Burslem's Haunted Cottage, then the Torturer, then into the boat ride, then the Bishop of Stafford, and then the unnamed show as a surprise. So here's my predicted layout. Again, comment down below if you want to put your own predicted layout in with those shows. You can keep rewinding and see if you can pick out the names of the shows again for the comments section. So here's my predicted layout. So I believe that the queue line will be all outside. I don't think there's going to be any indoor queue line like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Toyland Tours, etc. Because if those of you who did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and those of you who did Toyland Tours will remember there was some indoor queuing with a massive queue screen with Willy Wonka's queue pre-show video back on the old ride system. I think with this one, however, all the queue is going to be outside. And basically, as soon as you enter the building, you enter the attraction. There's no indoor queuing, in my opinion. But hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll do what they're looking to do with Room on the Broom's queue line at Chessington, which is opening on March the 10th at Chessington. I think what they're looking to do with their queue line is They've ripped out the old, well, they've put some new outdoor queue line in, and it looks really nice. Nice wooden poles. I'm sure it's going to have some nice theming to those rails. I'm sure it will go for the vampire style colour, maybe. I don't know. Probably thinking, why have I got the burpees? I had something to dinner, so. So yeah, so the queue will all be outside, in my opinion. Then what I think they'll be doing is they're going to be splitting the old queue pre-show room where the indoor queue line was for the Challenge Chocolate Factory and the Alton Towers. They'll be splitting that big room up into 3 sections, the first and the second and the third show. So in my order of shows, I think the Plague Doctor, the Witch of Bursum's Haunted Cottage and the Torturer will all be in that section. However, the Torturer is going to be nearest to the station for the boat ride, the air gates. So you go into the Plague Doctor, similar style to what you see at York Dungeon's Plague Doctor, but the Stafford version and how they treat their patients, whether they treat them the same, they have different tactics, etc, etc. Then you'll move through into the Witch of Bursum's Haunted Cottage, like I said before. I'm comparing this a lot to like Margaret Clitheroe and the Golden Inn over at the York Dungeon that I experienced back in January, and I'll be experiencing again in April. I sort of linked that show back to that. Because I'm expecting to see some like ghostly projections. You know, it's the Witch of Burslum's haunted cottage. Haunted. Big clue there. So I'm expecting to see some ghost projections, maybe a smoke effect, maybe some jet sprays at the back, maybe... I hope we don't see a VR ride system in there, which I probably don't think is going to happen anyway, but I'm just praying we don't. I would love to see, though, maybe for the Witch of Bursum's Haunted Cottage, maybe you can see some like ghost projection, and then like sort of the witch actor saying, "Oh, pardon me, that's me ghosts." Maybe they'll tell you to sit on a bench and you put like a blindfold on instead of no VR or anything, but just like a blindfold, and then maybe you're gonna get some actors. It's like a soundscaping thing. You'll get like a sound playing, and the story is told through sound. And you'll get actors touching you on the legs, touching you, grabbing you. You sit on a bench and it's like the bench is wriggling about like the Plague Doctor at York Dungeon. I know the benches were wriggling about with the lice escaping and things like that. Maybe a blood splatter effect to get on the blindfolds. Just something simple like that, just to create some more tension and paranormal atmosphere. So after the Witch of Bursum's Haunted Cottage, then you'll go into the Torturer. I think it'll be a similar style to York Dungeon's Torturer. Show off the torch devices. One of the guests will be in a cage all the way through. Someone will be sat down practicing all these torch devices. There'll be a bit of comedy thrown in there. We know York Dungeon, it's quite a family horror attraction, so there'll be some comedy elements in there. And then the Torturer will actually lead you through into the boat ride station. And now for the boat ride. Now my predicted theme for the boat ride is a sewer. And I've put down here on the order of these shows. I predict like a sewer theme, like the Torturer saying, okay, to get to the next room in our House of Horrors, you must go through the sewer system, and to do that you must travel in one of our lovely horror boats. So I think that's how they're going to portray the boat ride system part of the attraction. So you'll go through the boat ride system, because they've ripped out all of Charlie's theming, so I'm sure they're going to be putting in some brand new animatronics. We're going to see some projection mapping, some smoke effects, fingers crossed. Just something to really enhance the horror aspects of the experience. Like, imagine the original haunted house that then became Jewel. The original haunted house on water. I think that's how they're going to be portraying this, but more of a family-style haunted house on water. So after the boat ride, you'll go through, and the fourth room, the fourth show, the Bishop of Stafford. I think this is going to be replacing again, those of you who did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory will remember the television room, where Mike TV's taken from the TV by his mother. They make all those tiny and small jokes. You get what I mean. Then they'll lead you through into the elevator for the final bit. With this one, however, I think this will be replaced by the Bishop of Stafford, so you'll have where the screen is for the television room scene, the little pre-show for the elevator. They'll have like a judge's stand, and they'll sort of reposition the room a bit, and then they'll have the courtroom style scene through there, but of course it's the Bishop of Stafford, so there's bound to be some differences to York Dungeon's courtroom or anything like that. Now, from there, it's the final scene, and I think this is a surprise, because You look at the other dungeons. Your dungeon has a carriage simulator style Dick Turpin Highwayman ending. Blackpool Tower dungeon and Edinburgh dungeon have drop towers. So there's a very differentiated ending. Now, whether this means that Alton Towers are going to keep the elevator ride system, I've seen nor heard no reports that the actual elevator ride system's been demolished from the attraction or removed from the attraction bit by bit. So I kind of assume the elevator system's going to stay. However, it's going to be differentiated in some way. So there's going to be some nice effects. Maybe they're going to differentiate the ride. So maybe you're not standing on a spot. Maybe you're actually sitting down. And there's like, I don't know, like maybe a lap barge to keep you safe. And maybe they're going to tilt the seats a bit like they do in the Alt Dungeon Carriage Simulator. Maybe it'll follow those kind of different simulator principles. But of course, after that unnamed final show, you're going to be led out. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you're going to have your own tavern gift shop, either through the Burger Kitchen way or through the same exit. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Is there going to be a tavern? I don't know. But I do think that'll be the end of the attraction after that final show. So whether that final show rethemes or replaces the Great Glass Elevator from the Charlie ride, or it could be a brand new elevator system, or a brand new simulator ride system at all. It could be a completely different simulator style experience to the elevator. I mean, I don't know unless I've tried it, and unfortunately I won't be down there for the opening weekend on March 23rd on the Saturday. I won't be down there, unfortunately. However, I am aiming to get out, fingers crossed, before July. I'd rather visit Alton Towers before the summer crowds kick in around mid-July. So fingers crossed, I would like to get out to Alton Towers before July kicks in, just to escape those summer crowds. I finished uni on April 10th, so I've got all the time in the world to go to Alton Towers after April 10th. Of course, April 13th, I'm at your dungeon. Around May, June time, I said I was thinking about Capri World, but I'm not too sure now. It's 50-50 in that one, so of course I won't confirm trips as long as I've got a date for them. But for Alton Towers, I would like to get out before the summer crowds kick in mid-July. Just for the queues to quieten down and to give my impression of the Alton Towers dungeon. So it would be nice to get out there before mid-July, but we don't know how that's going to work at that stage. Of course, it'd be nice to get back on my favourites, Nemesis, Wickerman, Smiler. It would be nice. But anyway, so that's my predicted layout of the Alton Towers dungeon. As I said, some people were quite sceptical of the idea when it was first announced August 2018. But I'm really, really excited about this. I know Charlie wasn't really touched, it wasn't really upgraded with any new animatronics, so it didn't really fall in that respect. But of course, when the licensing ran out with the Roald Dahl Federation, when the ride closed in 2015, and it announced that the ride wouldn't be coming back, we sort of assumed that the ride would stay empty for a few years, and then development sort of start from there. But of course, we got the announcement of the Alton Towers dungeon, many people speculating Charlie. I think a few people were sort of going along the idea they were going to use the Towers, but of course, Towers is a Grade 2 listed building, so it's... I don't know if you know this about Hex, but when they built Hex at the back of the Towers, they had to build like a separate ride building at the back of the Towers, which holds the Madhouse ride system. And then when Hex closes, whenever it closes, they can't actually demolish any part of the Towers because it is a Grade 2 listed building. They just got to remove the ride system and just leave the Towers as it is, because it is a listed building. So I don't know if you know that about Hex, but I mean, I guess that's kind of why they didn't go for a dungeon in the Towers. Obviously it would have been nice because you could have done the same thing as Subspecies, where you use the craters and the grass area to sort of create part of it and host a couple of the shows in the old areas, but I guess that's the way forward. But most people were suggesting Charlie was going to bite the dust for this, and of course we got the confirmation of that with the 5 shows and boat ride confirmation. So again, very, very excited about this development. This is the... obviously I was thinking about a Thought Park trip this year, but I might save it just in case we get a big new coaster next year. So out of all the new investments for 2019 in the UK, Alton Towers is going to be probably the only one of the main theme parks that I'm going to be doing in terms of new investments. Obviously Flamingo Land's got their rumoured 10 inverting coaster, So I would love to get a trip at Flamingoland this year, if that is definitely true. Obviously, we're still 50-50 on the rumour at the minute, but it's looking very likely from all the things we hear about footers being put up and construction already starting on that corkscrew site. So, I mean, that could be 2 investments already that I'm going to be trying out this year, the Alton Towers Dungeon and the 10 inverting roller coaster at Flamingoland. But it's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be a very nice attraction, and I cannot wait. Thank you very much for watching this video on my thoughts about the Alton Towers Dungeon, my predictions for the layout of the Alton Towers Dungeon. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. My name is Coaster Child, hashtag Doncaster but built for theme parks. Keep living the coast life, my dudes, and I'll see you guys in the next video soon. Take care, have an awesome day.